Okay? VMS is a Chattanooga entity in and of itself. I told you I don't know what it stands for, but it's like a portable NMS unit in a big honking machine. Okay, so it's a low volt. You can use the same setup. It's still for muscle re-education, but it could be for smaller muscles because it's low volt. I want you to have your patient set up and do Russian first, then leave them set up and change it over to VMS and go through the same process. You will find that the intensity on VMS is probably 3 times as much as it was on Russian. So don't think if they got a contraction at 14 milliamps, I'm going to get anything on 14. It's going to be 50. Okay? But leave the kind of setup as. Okay. We can again use the reusable electrodes, or we can use ones with the sponges and whatever that come with it. Whichever you get the strappers on, whatever. Because you've got 2 things that you're going to be working on here, we'll probably set this up so that you could conceivably get 2 people at once, and we have another set of lead wires, so you could be working on 2 at once. The only problem is you got 1 screen, so you're kind of sharing the screen. Once you get it set up, you can adjust it without the screen here. You'll notice the lights here with Russian now, instead of 1 intensity, 1 balance, like it was for interferential. This is intensity for this channel. This is intensity for this one. So you'll see this little light as it's ramping up, flashing, and as soon as it gets to the top, it's solid green. And then when it's going down, it's flashing, and then it's off when it's off. So you can see it without looking at the screen and know when you can turn it up or whatever. Okay, so we're just going to use this red channel since we just have 1. Remember on this one, red's a channel, black's a channel. And I don't need this one for right now. So I choose side B. I choose Russian. It lets me choose channel 1, channel 2, or both channels. If I'm doing both sides, then I would need both channels, but I'm just doing channel 2, so that's what I choose. Again, it gives you 4 presets, which if those are what you want, that's fine. You just make sure that everything is what you want, or you can customize. When I customize, the first thing is contract rest, which is on-off, or constant. Again, this is not one that I can go to from continuous to the on-off. So if I want on-off, I need to contract rest. If you choose the contract rest, then you choose the contract, the on time, and the rest, the off time. It defaults to 10 seconds on, 50 seconds off. Again, if you wanted to change that, keep the same 4:5:1 ratio. But like you did before, click it, put in your new numbers, hit enter, and it will save that value. Okay? This one defaults to 3 seconds up, 3 seconds down. Again, you could change that to 2 if you want. There's not really a rationale. It's just how long it takes to get to maximum intensity. So you could leave it at 3, change it to 2, whatever. And it defaults to 10 minutes of treatment time. Again, you're going to the point of fatigue, but not beyond, so as long as you've got enough time there to do that. There's also a button here that says Customize Waveform. Now, for the most part, you're not going to be using that, but that's the only place to set your rate. Okay? So if you hit Customize Waveform, it first lets you change the carrier frequency if you want to. That's the base frequency, which is at 2,500 hertz. Not really any reason to change that. That's a good medium frequency. The duty cycle is that interpulse, which again defaults to 50% on and off. But the pulse frequency, 50 hertz, it's actually bursts per second, so it will default to 50 bursts per second. If you want to adjust it, you adjust it based on the size and strength of your muscle. That's the only place you can adjust it, is there on that screen.
The bursts per second, so that would be like your 20 to 50.
Right. And this is a big, strong muscle usually, so most of it defaults to 50, but if it was a little bit weaker, a little bit smaller muscle, maybe 40 might be better for them so that they won't fatigue. They'll be aggressively strengthening but not fatigue. Hit done when I'm done there. Now this one, then we hit continue to set our output level. It's not starting until I press start, but it will let me turn up my intensity. It's just going to hold there. So this is kind of like continuous and then going to off, but you can use that. Okay, so I'm going to start turning. Okay, now he's at 23 milliamps, different machine, same pad, same muscle, whatever. If I don't hit start, that's where he's at. I think it goes to off first, we'll probably plot, yeah. Okay, now it goes to on. Now, this just goes back to the main screen. And see, he's fasciculating a little bit, so I might want to. This one is great because it won't turn up when it's off, even if I turn it. So when it's off, I can turn it, and it's not going to zap him when it ends. If I'm wanting to kind of see where I'm at, I can go to the status bar. So it's side B, channel 2, and it gives me a screen here that shows there's where I'm off. And as it gets to the end, then it ramps up for the on. So I can let him know, or he can see it if he can see the screen, and he can get ready. Okay, it's about to go. Light bullet. You know, here we go, whatever. It's still on.
So what was it? It said it what on this one?
23 milliamps.
What was it over there?
17. Just different machines. That's why you're going with the desired effect, not necessarily. I mean, you document the numbers, but that may change. And ready? Here it goes up, and you see it flash, 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 flash,
Oh my
and then
gosh.
it's on. On for the plateau for 10 seconds. The 3 seconds up and down doesn't count into the 10. It's in addition to that. It's actually, I think, part of the 50. And now ramping down, flash, 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 flash. Now it's off.
Is that hard? It hurts to
Okay.
Oh.
So
Now-
it's still contracted. It's kind of
That's
grand.
just your
Yeah,
muscle,
it's
like. Now again, if I had another set, do it at the same time, or the hamstrings, then I can turn it up. And if you had both, you'd have two little, you'd have channel 1, channel 2, and you could see this one's up and off, and now this one's going, so you can follow and see which one's when, to know when to turn it up for each of those. Okay? I don't know what's up. Now, that's Russian. One channel, other channel, both channels, whatever. Let's see VMS. It's going to look the same, but it's not medium frequency. It's not those bursts. It's not the high rate. It's like a low volt kind of thing.
What button did you push?
Side B. Okay. VMS is just a biphasic symmetric, so it's just a low volt. Again, channel 1, channel 2, or both. We're on channel 2. Gives you presets, or I can customize it. On off, it defaults to 1050, but this is a low volt, so we don't want 4 or 5 to 1. We want 2 or 3 to 1. So I need to change one or both of those, but change it away from the 5 to 1. And then if you reduce your on time, you probably want to reduce your ramp time too. That's in there. Again, it'll default to 10 minutes. We could add more. In customizing our waveform, it gives you several things. It gives you the phase duration and interphase, which is the on-off, or the how it changes from one polarity to the other polarity. It defaults at 80 microseconds. It gives you an option of 40 to 160. It can't give you any rationale from one to the other, just make them even. That's that 50% duty cycle on to off, the in-between. They won't feel any difference. So just leave it at 80 microseconds. It lets you choose whether it starts positive or negative. It's AC, so it doesn't matter in the long run. It's going to go the other way, okay? But this is where you put your rate. This will default at 25 pulses per second. So it's still within that muscle rehab, but now you're thinking low volt, smaller, weaker muscle. What's the appropriate one? Okay? I'm going to up this to 40. Since it's a bigger muscle, we're saying it's weaker because we're doing low volt. I'm going to change this to 5 seconds on, 15 seconds off. And I'm going to do a 2-second ramp up and down since it's only a 5-second. Okay? Continue. Again, I can turn this up to get my intensity the way that I want it, and then press start to make it cycle. Okay? So we're still going for a strong tetanic contraction. Starting a little bit. Almost there. Okay, we're at 77. Russian is, I'm going to go ahead and stop now, but the same thing, but much different. 23, we weren't getting anything because this is a low volt. Russian is the base frequency of 2,500 hertz packaged in those bursts. Versus VMS is like a portable NMS unit. It's a low volt generator, so it's just putting out your 25 hertz.
So it's the medium frequency versus
BMS is a low volt. Okay? In the same machine, you think that's another medium frequency, it's not. Okay? It's like a portable NMS unit in a big machine. So you use the same thought processing, same parameters as you would in MS.
So the initials stick together.
So I'll have you do both of those, but leave your person set up, just go from one to the other.
Whatever the other initials are.
We have to undo it, because that would be
That one, then this is initials, BMS, whatever. And the other one, NMS, that's like the initials, they do the same thing. They're
That's
both
the hair
low
broke
volt.
down. Well, no, hair kind of. Do you need the pads? The,
Yes, remember they were little.
oh, there. I can't get over
Hey,
there.
Watson.